Guys, it's cold outside, and in today's video, I am going to tell you guys about some of the winter essentials you must have. First up, gents, we've got classic winter headwear. You got to protect that head during the winter. Right here, I've got the classic watch cap, also known as the stocking cap, the night cap, the beanie. Goes by various names. Now, if you want to know the differences, beanies usually have a little ball on top, and yes, men can wear them. Stocking caps, night caps, those are going to be a little bit longer. Now, the thing about the watch cap, it is a casual cap, and there are other options out there if you're looking to actually wear something with a nice overcoat to dress up a bit and still be warm. Next up, we've got the classic flat cap, also known as an ivy cap. So this one here made from a nice felt. It's going to be in wool, so it's going to provide insulating properties. It also has an expansion right here, so it could protect my ears whenever I wear this. Now, you may be wondering what's the difference between this and the Newsboy. The Newsboy is actually usually going to have a pin right here, and it's going to be fuller in the overall design. Both of these look great when pairing them with an overcoat and basically more formal clothing. Next up, we've got the Ushanka, also known as the trapper hat or the aviator hat. What I love about this hat is you can wear it up, you can wear it down to protect your cheeks, protect your ears. It is a very versatile hat. And when worn up traditionally in parts of the world like Russia or over in Ukraine, you're going to find that this is a formal hat that can be worn even with a suit. Next up, we've got the Astrakhan, this hat coming out of East Asia. And why I like this one here is it's actually made from a very dense lamb's wool. It does a great job of insulating the head, protecting you from wind, all with a really unique type of style. You're not going to see this hat out there, and I think actually could be added to a man's wardrobe to help him stand out from the crowd and still be warm. Number two on my casual wardrobe essentials, gentlemen, I've got the long sleeve Henley. But when you're looking at a long sleeve Henley, again, go for solid, dark colors or light colors as well. This is something that you wouldn't always wear it by itself, but it's going to be great for layering. As I talked about with the cotton shirt jacket, this is something that you could throw that right over this. It looks great. It's much nicer than a t-shirt. Now, if the Henley's not for you as an alternative, look at the long sleeve polo. A lot of us have had short sleeve polos. Long sleeve polos are a little bit harder to find, but I think they're great for a man's wardrobe, especially, again, when you want to layer. Next up, gents, we've got sunglasses. And if you know your history and you watch Real Men, Real Style, you know I've talked about how sunglasses have been worn by men for thousands of years, especially up in northern regions. When they're hunting, they need to be able to make things out despite the glare, hence why sunglasses originated. But sunglasses also originated because to protect your eyes from that cold wind. It can dry it out, it could actually blind you, so hence sunglasses, very useful during the winter. The next winter accessory, gentlemen, is going to be the right winter fragrance. So I'm putting this as an accessory because I do think that there are summer fragrances, there are winter fragrances, but really once you get into this, you start to realize what I'm looking for in a winter fragrance is something that's going to last long, something that's going to have strong projection. Why? Because I want to be able to put it on in the morning. I'm going to put on multiple layers of clothing, and it actually has to work its way through. Now, specifically, what are you looking for in a winter fragrance? You're going to look for cinnamon. You're going to look for nutmeg, look for vanilla. Look for something that's complex, something that has depth. And me personally, I love incense in my fragrance during the winter because it reminds me of going to midnight mass as a kid. And that's the key, is you got to find something that has meaning to you. But two things again, look for something that has sillage, basically projection, and something that's going to last a long time. Next up on our list, gentlemen, is the casual button down. And this is something that you've probably heard, you've probably already got a few in your wardrobe, but are you really maximizing this? Are you going and exploring and bringing a lot of fun ones into your wardrobe? Now, there are three things I like to look for. Number one, color. Number two, let's look at the style. And number three, let's look at the fabric choice. So number one, the color. Did you notice the orange button down I'm wearing right here? I could open this up and show you guys. This is a pretty bright color and something maybe by itself I wouldn't wear, but when I layer it, when I bring in other bits of clothing, I'm able to, in a sense, draw attention to my neck area, pointing to the face. It's almost like a necktie. And if you're not into that, then go with something that maybe has kind of more of a rugged feel. Olive green, one of my favorite colors, but you can bring in dark blues, variations of blues. You can also bring in mixed weaves where you've got, this one is actually a white with a very dark blue, which gives off this lighter blue look. Whatever it is, gentlemen, experiment with color and have fun with your button downs. Next up, gents, we've got thermal underwear. And with everything, look at the style pyramid. It matters a lot, yes, in underwear. Fit, make sure it fits you. Any tight spots, this is fitting close to your body. It's going to irritate you. Do not buy it if it's too tight or way too loose. You want to be able to layer it. Next up, look at the fabric. For me, I want something that is not going to be at all itchy next to the body. So if you have issues with wool, do not wear a wool insulating thermal underwear. Next up, should you go for the single piece or go for the double piece? Me, I prefer double piece when it comes to thermal thermal underwear because I like to be able to wear maybe the top or just wear the bottom depending on the other clothing I'm wearing. Next up, gentlemen, we've got textured sweaters. Textured sweaters, sweaters with patterns, with intricate designs in them. They're made to be worn by themselves or they can be layered. What I like about these is they give a bit of depth. They can really build up your chest area. I've got one that's got an aeronaut going across here, so that builds up my arms, builds up my chest. But what I like is I can wear them in lieu of a sports jacket or, and this really depends on how lightweight the weave is, you can actually layer them. If it becomes a heavier weave, maybe made from a coarse cotton or a coarse wool, it's going to be something that's going to be harder to layer depending on the size of your jacket. But if it's lightweight, made from maybe cashmere or a very finely woven wool, you will be able to wear it under a sports jacket. Again, we're talking about layering here, but when looking at these sweaters, what you want to focus in on is the fit. Sweaters are very hard to actually get adjusted, but it is something when you get the right one, it is such a great piece. Now look at the different styles out there. You're going to find some that have a mock neck crew, which it comes down right over here, just uses a few buttons, maybe a zipper. Those are great for throwing on, but what I really like are cardigans. What I love about it is the overall design of the cardigan, how it almost looks like a jacket. Next up, gentlemen, we've got gloves. Now with gloves, a lot of guys think you need to match your overcoat, your pea coat. Not exactly true. I look to the shoes. So if you wear black shoes, go with black gloves. If you wear brown shoes, go with brown gloves. And you don't have to have an exact match here when it goes to the brown, and you can trade it up. These right here, navy, I love them. You can also go with maybe a dark green. The key with gloves is making sure that they fit your hands and going with something that you know you're gonna wear. Now, when it comes to mittens, I think mittens are perfectly fine if you're in an extremely cold area, but it is something that's going to be less formal than nice finger gloves. Next up, gentlemen, let's talk trousers. So I'm not going to bring up jeans in this video, and I could have easily put them in this list, but I assume that you've already got some great fitted jeans in your wardrobe. What I want to talk about are trousers made from unique fabrics, which I think work really well in the cooler weather. Number one, corduroy. So corduroy is not just for kids, guys. Corduroy has two great things going for it. Number one are the wales, and that's where it's got that unique weave that looks like texture, because those wales in cooler weather actually can trap air, and they're very warm. Again, perfect for winter wear. Now also texture. And so texture, I've talked about it before, women love texture. Other men like texture. People want to touch texture. Now what you see here is cavalry twill. This is a durable, tough fabric. Literally, this stuff is going to be tougher than jeans. So when you have this in your trousers, it's going to stand out, it's going to look unique, and most of all, guys, it's durable. This is something that's going to stand up to your washes, it's going to stand up to wear and tear, and you're going to get a lot of miles out of it. Next up, gentlemen, we've got scarves and neck gaiters. The whole thing here is to keep the neck warm. Now, neck gaiters I think are great, but they're going to be very casual, but they do a great job of keeping the neck warm. Now let's talk about scarves. So scarves are great because you can bring color into an otherwise drab outfit. But if you're going to start off your base scarf, go with a gray, go with maybe something with a blue. I like something with a contrasting color. That's a great option right there. But bringing in a color in a pattern doesn't need to be bright, but actually bringing in something that draws attention, brings a little bit of focus in on the face, I think is great. Next up, pay attention to the material. The two scarves I just wore were a wool cashmere. This one is more of a cashmere, and it's great, but it has a little bit more of an airy feel to it. Not going to be as warm as those other ones, but still very soft, very nice. And then let's talk about silk options. These aren't going to add a whole lot of warmth, but what they are is going to protect my neck from the wind, and they're going to bring in a lot of color. Now, if you're looking to level up your style, you really need to check out my free community over on School. I've set this community up so we've got free classes that you can make your way through step by step and learn the basic foundations of men's style. And I have to say, the men that are in this group are friggin' awesome. We've got a no a-hole policy. People treat each other with respect. And what we've managed to create in this community is a place where a man can come in and ask questions and get some solid advice. So gents, use the link in the description of today's video. Go check out our free communities on School. These are for you to become the man you know yourself to be. So this next item may surprise a few of you guys, but I think a clean cut, well-fitted, dark-colored hoodie is essential to a casual wardrobe. And let me explain. A lot of the hoodies out there being sold, they've got huge brand names on them, or they've got just some crazy type of design on the back that makes them really loud, or they're going in a color which is really impractical for tough wear. I think that the hoodie, when you look at how basically functional it can be, it's great for layering. So let's say you grab that pea coat, but you need something to give you a little bit of extra warmth up here, or you're gonna be wearing that jean jacket, you could throw the hoodie right underneath it. I think it's a great layering piece. And when you get something that actually fits you and is functional as well, it's a great essential piece of a man's wardrobe. So we're talking about your shoes drying out, guys. Your hands and your face dry out as well. Basically, that cold weather is sucking the moisture out. So you want to make sure to have little moisturizers right in the pocket of your jacket, easy to grab, so you can put it right on your hands, put it on your face as needed. And lip balm is a must, not only during the summer, but during the winter. Heavyweight winter socks. Wool is the tried and trusted option out there, been around forever. The issue with wool though is it can be expensive, and I know some of you guys have allergies to wool. So look to synthetic materials in a performance weave. You're gonna find these at sports stores. These do a great job of wicking away moisture and keeping your feet warm during the winter. Next up on the list for casual wardrobe essentials, guys, have a great jacket. And I'm gonna give you 3 options right here. This leather jacket I'm wearing right here, I absolutely love it. Makes me feel great, fits me like a glove. I love that small color distinction right there. It just sets it apart from all the other jackets out there. The styling is relatively simple. Clean. It's a classic moto jacket. But perhaps that's too simple. You want something that's gonna grab a little bit more attention with the texture. Check out this chocolate suede right here. Beautiful, classic jacket in a material that a lot of guys shy away from. But with a jacket like this, you're looking for compliments. You're looking for a jacket. When people see it, when the ladies see it, they're gonna wanna touch it. It just draws them in with the texture, with the overall feel, with the look. Notice the small details and the texture right there on the shoulders. These are put there to draw attention to the shoulders, because when your shoulders look larger, you look taller in general. But maybe chocolate's too plain. You want a color that's gonna have you stand apart from the crowd. Now a jacket like this maybe isn't gonna be interchangeable, but it is one that's going to grab attention, one that's going to be able to help you stand apart from all the other guys out there. I think the key to wearing a colored suede jacket is having the confidence to pull it off. First up, look in your wardrobe. Are you already wearing items of that color? I know for me, sports jackets, I already had a couple green sports jackets. So I knew this was one of my go-to colors that I would easily bring this right into my wardrobe. The other key to wearing a jacket with color, don't try to overpower it with other items in your wardrobe. This is going to be the centerpiece. So don't try to wear shoes that are going to draw attention away from it. Shoes that are brighter in color, shoes that maybe have a high contrast. No, go with your simple, clean, good looking shoes, but ones that, yeah, aren't going to draw as much attention as the jacket. With your trousers, keep them simple. With your shirt, keep it simple, keep it clean. You can go for a small repeating pattern, but overall, the jacket is going to be the centerpiece. So right here, as you can see, I'm wearing a double-breasted top coat made with a wool cashmere. And look right here at the design. That double-breasted right there is going to have it stand out from all the other jackets out there. It's a top coat, not an overcoat. A top coat is usually worn over more formal clothing, and you can tell that by the style of this jacket, although the color, in my opinion, does make this a bit more casual. Now for me, what makes this jacket are these wide peak lapels. On most jackets out there, you're going to see notch lapels. That's one style. Peak lapels, though, are going to be a bit more formal. Now, on occasion, you're also going to see shawl lapels out there, especially in formal clothing. I would say stay away from it. What I like about this jacket, even though it's a formal jacket, I could actually wear it and dress it down because of the color of the jacket itself. Also, the fact it's made from wool cashmere is going to make it very soft, very nice to the touch, and it's going to be very functional, very warm, hence why wool is always sought after in winter clothing. Lastly, notice the length of the jacket. Comes up just above the knees where a mid-length jacket should hit. It's going to fully cover the buttocks, so it's going to do a very functional job of keeping the wearer warm. At the same time, it's probably not a great car coat, one that's going to enable you to get in and out of vehicles easily. But, you know, for style's sakes, if you really like it, I would say still go for it. Now, this next jacket is interesting because it's a hybrid of different styles. First up, when you look at it, you look at the lapels, you look at the overall style, the double-breasted in the front, you immediately may think peacoat. And because of those style features alone, I would actually classify this as a type of peacoat, but it's not a classic peacoat because the weight is relatively lightweight. Overall, this is a jacket that if you're over in Northern California, this would be a great one to add to your wardrobe. This is going to be something, if it's 60 degrees, 50 degrees outside, you'll be able to wear it and feel good. It's also going to be a jacket that has a unique pattern. Classic peacoats are going to be solid navy. This one right here has a small check pattern that you don't actually, it's actually a relatively large check pattern, but you don't notice it until you get close. It's muted overall in style, and that's what I love about it. It's not till you get close that you notice something different about this jacket. Now, the length on this one is great, especially if you're driving in a vehicle. Why? It's about 3 inches shorter than that last jacket, but that 3 inches makes a big difference. My buttocks is still covered, so it's going to keep me warm. At the same time, it's only going to my mid-thigh, so it's going to give me more room when I'm getting in and out of a vehicle to be able to move my legs and not feel constricted. Now, the material here, virgin wool. Not as soft as wool cashmere, but incredibly soft, and all that virgin means is it simply hasn't been recycled. So you're going to have longer strand wool. It's going to do a good job of holding its shape, and wool, as you know, has great insulating properties. I also like the functional aspect of this jacket and pea coats in general because I can button this button right here and I can protect my neck, throw on a scarf, I'm good to go. Now, what about the real thing? You bet a pea coat is going to make this list. Absolutely love the pea coat as a stylish coat for any guy out there. So the great thing about this, how incredibly functional it is, but also the military history behind the pea coat. In case you don't know, this was an issued item with the United States Navy. Also, I believe in the British Navy, you had this as well. Basically, navies around the world have used this for a long time. So there were a lot of them out there that were military issue. Nowadays, it's going to be a lot easier simply to find them at stores because it's become a style icon. The great thing about the pea coat, it's made from a little bit of a coarser, heavier wool. What that means and why they used wool to begin with, because wool can absorb about 50% to 60% of its weight in water and still actually feel dry. Keep the wearer warm. And that's why these were worn on boats. But when it comes down to it, this is just a great looking piece. I think it works with most body types. Just a great style, one that I still think so many men could pull off, but they don't. And I absolutely love when you button it up all the way, cover the neck, you've got those lines. There's something about the look that, in my opinion, is just classically stylish. The next jacket on my list, the straight up functional jacket. We're talking about a jacket that just does its job. It doesn't have to be flashy. It understands, okay, if it's just below zero and cold, or if it's 40 degrees below zero and friggin' cold, you want a jacket that's going to keep you warm. So the number one job of your functional jacket is to keep you warm through insulation. Insulation works in two ways. First up, it's going to insulate you from the outside from those cold temperatures. And then it's going to keep your body heat from escaping. Those two things right there are what makes a great functional jacket work. So with this jacket right here, we see one of the usual suspects, wool on the outside. When woven in a dense weave, wool does a pretty good job of stopping the wind and does an excellent job of keeping out the cold and keeping the heat in. Now, on the inside of this jacket, that's where we get to see there's a second layer of down baffles. So basically, they're leveraging the insulating power of down. Now, the reason they use the combination of down baffles on the inside and the wool on the outside is wool is just going to be hardier, it's going to be tougher, it'll be able to deal with the elements. Down, on the other hand, if you get it wet, it's going to lose a lot of its insulating properties. Overall, a simple classic jacket that gets the job done and looks stylish doing it. Next up on the list of functional jackets, we've got the parka. The origins of this jacket is all about necessity, all about exploring, all about a man out working in temperatures down to like 60 below zero. We're talking Native American tribes up near the Arctic. They needed to be able to hunt. They needed to be able to functionally move around. At the same time, they needed something that would protect them from the extreme elements, from the wind. On the outside, to protect them from the snow, to protect them from the wind, they would use a waxed skin. On the inside, they would use the fur for insulation. Nowadays, most modern parkas are using synthetic materials. Right here on the inside, I've got a synthetic down. On the outside, I've got a synthetic polyester that's basically going to be water and wind resistant. You really want to pay attention to the wind resistance. This is where the parka really shines, is not only does it cover a larger portion of the body than most jackets out there, but the outside is going to be made from a material that isn't going to allow the wind to penetrate. In addition, the hood is going to do a great job of closing things up and protecting the neck. Parkas also pay attention to the small details because those small details matter. So right here on the front, I've got 3 closing systems. Why do you have 2 zippers and also buttons? Because you don't want any wind to penetrate, so it's going to do a good job of sealing the entire jacket up. In addition, right over here, even though this is synthetic, it still does the old job of actually breaking up the wind in and around the face. And when I've worn this in extreme cold temperature, I do notice a difference. It just does a great job of keeping the air, and I feel it keeps my face just a bit warmer. Combine that with big pockets down at the bottom and pockets a bit higher for your hands, the parka is the ultimate cold weather weather jacket. The next jacket every man needs to own, his go-to default jacket. The jacket that you don't have to think about, you simply put on, matches everything you wear. Now for me, I've got a couple jackets that fit this category. This one right here is a quilted car coat. What I love about this, it's got big functional pockets, it's a dark color, it's got a hood that I've actually never pulled out, but it gets the job done. Whenever I'm leaving the house, it's sitting there hanging up and I just grab it. It's gonna look great with jeans. I could actually throw, a nice shirt underneath this. I could wear it with a t-shirt. I've even worn this thing with sweats, but that's pretty rare. Point being is I wear this jacket with pretty much anything. I like the way it looks. It dresses things up a bit, makes my whole outfit feel a bit more complete. And living in an area that gets relatively cold weather for about half the year, this is a great just default jacket when it's below freezing, but not cold enough to wear a parka. But maybe you got a bit of a Western flair to you, then go for the Sherpa jacket. I absolutely love this one. I think it's classic in style. It's got a bit of insulation, looks like a trucker, basically looks like a jean jacket from the outside, but it's got this extra layer on the inside. If you work with your hands, you got 100 acres and you're going to be out there feeding the animals, riding a horse, this is the kind of jacket that I envision a cowboy wearing, simply because it gets the job done. You can wash it, throw it into the laundry, and overall it'll take a stain and it will keep going. So overall, just a great functional work jacket. But what if you want something casual? You want something lightweight, something you can pack away and not even know is there when you're not using it? Check out the lightweight puffer jacket. One of my favorite jackets because it just gets the job done. Doesn't have a big footprint. You can pack it away, forget about it. When you need it, pull it out. It'll inflate itself, basically picks up air, creates the insulation that way. The only bad thing about these jackets, if they get wet, especially if they're using down, they will lose their insulating properties. But that being said, they're a great layering piece. I know I've got this one whenever I'm just, again, wearing my sweats, if I'm gonna go out for a jog, if I just simply am gonna go for a walk with my wife, this is the jacket I'm gonna default to. And occasionally to go to the grocery store to pick up eggs and milk. Although, don't have to pick up eggs, I've got chickens. What am I talking about? And of course, we can't forget the foundation of a man's wardrobe, his shoes. So when it comes to dressing up, especially during the colder months, whenever the ground is a little bit more slick, you want to make sure, especially on your shoes, your dress shoes, that you've got a bit of traction. So look for rubber soles or a mixture of leather with rubber right there on the front. I also like to go with shoes with a Goodyear welt. These are going to be more water resistant, and basically that's the stitching where the bottom and the top have can basically be resoled. Now, if you're going to stick with sneakers, avoid the solid whites and avoid anything made from a canvas material, especially when there's going to be rain, there's going to be slush, there's going to be snow on the ground. You want something that can get a little bit dirty and is easier to clean up. That's why I like leather, and I like leather sneakers in a darker color. But my favorite footwear during the cold months, boots, especially boots that can deal with the elements, that easily slip on and off, work with my wardrobe. And guys, if you want to see the ultimate video on how to find the perfect pair of boots, I go over 10 different styles, how to find the right style for you and buy it and get a great deal. Guys, I've got you covered in this video right here. I just made it a while back. It is a solid video, so go check it out. A really good one. If again, you are in the market for boots, yeah, check out this video. Boom, right here. Dress casual, dress stylish. Yes, get some good boots.